pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. I'll call our meeting to order today. First thing on our agenda is approval of minutes for July 13, 2021. Mr. Wagner, you weren't here, were you?
I was not.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments? Motion?
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
First and second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
4-0. Next up, Commissioner reports and comments. Vice President Baker.
Just like to wish everybody involved at the Ag Center events this week safety and prayers with you that everything goes great, and just hope we get through the week without any bad and severe weather. And it's been 2 years since families have had the opportunity to spend time with their children and their families and their loved ones, and I think down there is going to give the families an opportunity to start coming up with events to spend with their families. So just like to wish everybody a great week down there at the Ag Center.
Great. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Kiefer.
Yes, I have just two things here. One, I'm the new commissioner liaison to the Disabilities Advisory Committee, and while the first meeting I will attend begins tomorrow, I wanted to share some news to make sure that we had enough time to publicize it and announce it publicly here at this body. Just wanted to thank Jamie Dick and his team for on August 7th from 9 to 11:30. They will be hosting a Washington County Special Needs Swim Clinic. This is a basic program to assess what needs might be needed among those with special needs in the community. A parent or adult guardian should be present for each person in the clinic, but our team here in Washington County will help with that. And if anyone has an interest in signing up someone they know for the swim clinic, right now there's a Google Docs form that you can email either myself at wkiefer@washco-md.net or Krista, our county clerk, K. Hart, at washco-md.net for that clinic registration form. And I think we're working to have a press release on that tomorrow. But just wanted to thank Jamie Dick and his team at Parks and Recreation for hosting this. This may be our first one that we've done for special needs, and right now we have 17 people signed up, and there's a max capacity at 30 just on staffing levels. So hopefully there's good interest, and maybe we'll have to do another one of these soon. And we did have some back and forth. There will be a sign language interpreter we hope to have on hand that day as well to help with that. So this will certainly help those with special requirements learn the basics of swimming, and that's a good thing. We have so many communities along the river. I know that's an important thing to learn that skill. Also, yesterday evening I was able to attend a monthly meeting of the Hancock Save Our School Committee, and they had in attendance school board member Mike Gesford, and I think they're hoping to cycle through all of those school board members to talk with them and just keep that pressure, keep that positive momentum going, and keeping the school open in the Hancock community. I know this body, it was Commissioner Klein's suggestion a couple weeks ago that maybe we look at an economic development incentive for the Hancock and Cascade community as well. They were also facing a school closure, and part of it was a decline in enrollment because of decline in population. So I hope that maybe we can get that on the agenda soon, work with those communities to see what might be specific to those Hancock and Cascade that would be helpful, and some economic development incentives.
Yeah, I'd like to reinforce that, but not just to talk about it. Maybe we already have some ideas already listed that we can review and suggest, or be, instead of just talking.
Staff has been looking at that, so we should be able to come up with some ideas to bring to you, and then any ideas that you all have, we can
very good.
So staff is already.
That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Burkett, your turn.
I would like to offer condolences to the family of Mike Doreen, who passed away last Thursday. Last Wednesday, I attended my first MACO, Maryland Association of Counties Legislative Committee meeting, and I'm looking forward to representing Washington County on that committee. Yesterday, I attended the Ag Expo breakfast that was put on by the board out there, And the expo runs through Saturday, July 24th. So if you haven't been out there yet, I would challenge you to go out and enjoy a good family-friendly time. And then finally, I'm looking forward to our meeting later with the City of Hagerstown's Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Commissioner Wagner, welcome
Morning.
back after, what, 6 weeks you were going?
No, yeah, I wish I was going 6 weeks. Now I was going a week. It was
Oh,
actually
okay.
pretty fun, really. I mean, that's my 1 week, and then I take a couple mini vacations. But yeah, toes in the sand's not bad, I'm telling you. But I also attended the Ag Breakfast yesterday, thanks to the county and the Ag Expo and Fair Board, who put that on. We took a tour. It was pretty nice. I've been on tours before, but you know, you run into a lot of people. You would get to see how well the animals are cared for by the kids that profit from the auction on Thursday night. That's a good one, Thursday night auction. I usually go buy something, a rabbit or a pig or a goat or something, and then I give it back. So I don't know what else I do with it. You know, my covenants won't let me keep a goat in the backyard. But yeah, other than that, we've been getting an email from a Kurt Sherman. I told him, I did talk to him yesterday. He wants us to, I told him to come in for citizens' comments if he so choose, but we've got several from Kurt. A smart guy, I know him. He has models he wanted us to look at, just information stuff. He's not proposing anything, just on models of how cities are, now that there's a lot of remote working, are attracting white-collar professional people who come in and they'll work 3 or 4 days remote, then travel to their real locations in Montgomery County or wherever that way. So I just told him that he'd come in. I think we've all seen his emails. Just told him he could come in on citizens' comments and just he's just trying to just help out the cities and towns. He's a technology guy, so 10 minutes into it I was lost. So here we go. So anyway, that's all I got.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just for me, again, to mention about the Ag Expo and Fair going on Thursday night is market sale. It culminates the year of the 4-H student raising their animal, goat, pig, horse, cattle, to the sale where they reap the benefits of their efforts. So I would strongly urge to go to Ag Expo and Fair, but Thursday night is an excellent opportunity to view what goes on down there. That being said, that concludes my report. Next, we'll go to staff comments. I think I have Larry. Did you want to come forward and introduce yourself? And
Sure, just a very, very quick comment. Larry Atchison, Director of Human Resources. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Pleased to announce that our 2019 and 2020 Employee Award Breakfast has now been scheduled for Tuesday, October 12th at our Ag Center. Save the dates going out to our employees here momentarily after this announcement, and we're looking forward to getting back to that rhythm.
yeah, I think it's been delayed because of COVID and we hadn't done it,
Absolutely,
so
that's correct.
good. It's a good program to establish.
Yeah, what was the date on that again?
That is Tuesday, October 12th.
Okay, that's right.
And of course, that's the breakfast, so it'll be in the morning, although I enjoy breakfast anytime.
Very good, thank you.
Let's
All
have
right,
breakfast
thank
now.
Is there any other staff in the audience for any comments during this time? Okay. Seeing none, we're a little ahead of citizens' participation at 12:35. Oh, you have, okay, good.
Do you want to go?
Want me to go?
I just have words, it's up to you.
Okay, I'll go first. I just have a few things. Just want to remind the public that there will not be a Board of County Commissioner meeting next week. And next meet will be on August 3rd. To follow up, I appreciate Mr. Burgett's comments. Michael Durning, he was a part-time driver with our county commuter. I've been with the county since 2008. He passed away last Thursday, so I just wanted to follow up and offer our prayers and thoughts and prayers and condolences to his family. And I just wanted to thank everybody at the Ag Center and the Ag Expo. I did get to attend the breakfast yesterday too. We got to go on a tour afterwards, as Commissioner Wagner mentioned. The kids took us around and showed us everything. And at the end of it, and they told us they thanked us for being there because they knew how busy we were. And at the end, I thanked them for taking the time because they were busier than us because they were up at 5 o'clock taking care of their animals. So they were already 3 hours into their day when they took us on a tour. So I really appreciate it. So if you get a chance to go down there, it's really a great thing. So thanks to everyone who had a chance to or had us down there, hosted us. So That's all I have.
Any other staff then?
I do. I have the Washington County Planning Commission wishing to accept the recommendation to reappoint Jeremiah Weddle to serve a second 5-year term from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2026. This is a paid board.
Motion to approve Jeremiah Weddle.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
I have the Animal Control Authority of Washington County wishing to accept the recommendation to reappoint Ashley Schweinhart to serve a first full 3-year term. She previously served a partial term as an alternate member from August 1st, 2021 through July 31st, 2024. This is not a paid board.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Washington County Board of Social Services wishing to accept the recommendation to reappoint several members. We have John White and Carol Costello, each to serve a second 3-year term, retroactively from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2023. To reappoint Cynthia Brown to serve a first full 3-year term from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024. She previously served a partial term. To reappoint William Beard to serve a second 3-year term from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024. To reappoint Shannon Gaines to serve a first 3-year term July 1st, June 30th, 2024. And to reappoint David Poole to serve a third 3-year term July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024. And with the appointment of Mr. Poole, who would be recommending to serve his third term, we are requesting that the Commissioners approve an exception to the 2-term limit as written in County Policy PR 22 for boards and commissions.
Commissioners, you want to approve all of them together except for Mr. Poole? We'll do that second motion separate. Would that be okay? Since we have to do an exception. So all in favor of appointing everybody other than Mr. Poole, who will come back, is there okay? Motion to approve that as stated by Krista, the names.
Motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Krista, will you restate Mr. Poole?
We are looking to reappoint Mr. Poole to serve a third 3-year term from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024. And with the appointment of Mr. Poole, we are requesting that the Commissioners approve an exception to the 2-term limit as written in County Policy PR 22 for our boards and commissions.
Commissioners?
You know, I know David Poole. I think he probably, I know he does. He does a wonderful job. He stays involved. I mean, I'd recommend it. And since there's so many members on there anyway, I mean, it's not like there's only 2 or 3 people.
Is there a motion to accept that recommendation?
Is that a motion?
Is that a motion?
That's a motion, yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, first and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Krista.
Thank you.
Any other staff reports?
I have 2 more. I'm
Please
sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
Big board. We have the Emergency Services Advisory Council wishing to accept the recommendation to reappoint Joseph Proba to serve a first 3-year term as Commissioner Burkett's at-large representative from June 1st, 2021 through May 31st, 2024.
Whose appointment is that currently?
Commissioner Burkett.
Commissioner Burke, any thoughts, comments, or a motion?
Motion to approve.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, first and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
One more. I have the Washington County Agricultural Land Preservation Advisory Board wishing to accept the recommendation to appoint Suzanne Hayes to serve an unfulfilled term from August 1, 2021 through September 30th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is citizen participation. We're a little early. If there's anyone here, we'll see to that now. And at 12:30, if someone comes in, I'll readdress this at that time. It's listed on the agenda. Okay, commissioners. Next up, building permit and inspection services for the town of Keatysville. Thank you for being here. Please introduce yourselves in the matter.
Good afternoon, Rich Eichelberger, Director of Construction. I have with me Rick Bishop, who is the Town of Keatysville Town Manager, Brandon Sweeney, Assistant Mayor, and also Lisa Reiner, who is the Assistant Administrator for the Town of Keatysville. Commissioners, we are here today requesting approval to draft a memorandum of understanding with the Town of Keatysville to provide building code enforcement, permitting, and inspection services. The Town of Keatysville is requesting the county to provide these services within the town limits. The Town of Keatysville currently provides its own building and code enforcement, permitting, and inspection services within the town limits. At this time, the town's contract building inspector is retiring, and the town is requesting to enter into an agreement with the county to provide building code enforcement, permitting, and inspection services. The town will retain zoning review and approval as the other municipalities within the county. Washington County currently provides code enforcement, permitting, and inspection services for the plumbing, the electric, and mechanical installations. Should the MOU be approved, the largest impact to the county would be the permitting process. Additional scripting would be required to allow the Acela automation software to accept these building permits for the town. Minor impact would be realized by the inspection staff. And fiscal impact would be, actually it's $2,600 to $3,000 is the estimate to do the scripting for the Acela software. Conferences with the county administrator, county attorney, and the director of plan review and permitting, and unfortunately Ashley could not join us today.
So basically, you have somebody retiring and you want us to fill that position.
Basically, the county would then take over the permitting and inspection services for the town.
Right.
For the town. Like I said, we currently provide the trade inspections. So
Well, that's in your field. What do you recommend?
I'm all for it. It makes for more consistency with contractors and such. They would be dealing with the same folks, whether in the county or within the town limits of Keatysville. And I don't know if Rick or any of the other folks here from Keatysville would like to address anything.
Just so you understand, it's not the inspector, our inspector retiring helped push this along. I'm the administrator, been there for 11 and a half years, and for the past few years I've been wanting to do this. Rich first approached us. I want to say it was probably 2 years ago, going on 2 years ago, and about, maybe we would like to do this. Probably came down to a meeting when you toured the county. Anyhow, there was some hesitancy on part by a number of our council members. They were afraid they were going to lose zoning, control over the zoning, and they didn't want to do that. Well, anyhow, Rich provided a sample MOU, and clearly it's just it's permitting and inspection services, and it's going to help the town. It's a small show down there. We don't have a big staff, and so plan review's been a little difficult, and then now we're losing the inspector. When our inspector leaves for vacation, what do? We're scrambling, and so it would be a real benefit to the town if we could shift the permitting and inspections to the county.
Rich, how many municipalities do we offer this service to?
We now provide all services to all municipalities, with, of course, the exception of the city of Hagerstown. And then right now, we do not provide the building inspection services. Now, the trades we do, but for Keatysville and also for the town of Smithburg currently. But I'm hearing some rumors that may
Unless
come
there's other
forth.
commissioner comments, I approve as presented.
Okay, that's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
First and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
So,
Okay.
so just for clarity, the motion was to
to approve the draft.
Authorize development and execution of an MOU with the town of Keatysville to provide, permitting services.
to
Is that
approve the
correct?
draft
So we
memorandum.
don't need to bring it back.
Okay.
And
And then Kirk, I'll work with you on that. And just for clarity also, the scripting will take, a few months to do by the time it's scripted and it's put into test. We verify everything and then able to roll it in production. So I'll work with Rick and the staff there at Keatysville on a rollout date, and we'll provide that to you, prior to that occurring as well.
And did we discuss, I'm sorry, I had to step out for a minute. Did we discuss the initial, there is an initial cost to this?
Right.
Did we, we did not discuss that, right? There's a $3,000 cost, right, to upgrade our system to allow them to allow us to do this.
Approximately.
So,
Boy, sort of the way I feel about that is we give a ton of money to other,
Well, that'll be a part, that'll be in the final memorandum.
but I don't think we're bringing that back to,
we're not bringing it back, no.
are we bringing it, do we just clarify that we're not bringing that back, or that we?
well, that was my understanding.
Yeah, it says to approve a draft memorandum understanding, which would come back for final
So
approval.
our question is, if you want to allocate that cost, other than being in-house in the county, we need to know that so we can put it in the
Right.
memorandum.
And I tell you, I mean, I've already talked to Sarah's here, we've already talked to Budget and Finance about that, so if the county wants to absorb that cost, you know, as a benefit to the town of Keatysville, I'm okay with that.
I would say we'll cover that cost as a benefit to help out our municipality.
Yeah,
I mean,
Commissioners okay with
That was
that?
our recommendation, but we wanted to bring it just to clarify
Thank you.
what it was, so.
We'll work with Sarah
We'll
to
work with
identify
Sarah.
where
Yes.
that will come from.
We would cover that similar cost with other municipalities as well, I would imagine, right? So they should each be treated identical.
Yeah, I don't know what we've done in the past, but, I mean, honestly, and I'll just say, you've already approved it, so I don't need to sell you on this, but I think there is a consistency issue that I think it will be very helpful, and I think that we as a county, and commissioners have already said that we wanna support the municipalities and we wanna support Keatysville, so I was completely in favor of this, and I appreciate you bringing it forward to us.
Thank you,
I just wanted
gentlemen.
to clarify the upfront cost for us, so we'll go
Thank you.
ahead and take care of that.
All right, hearing nothing else, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're early on our next agenda item. Is Craig Rowe or anybody like that in the neighborhood, or?
So he's not here? That's okay.
Go
Hello,
ahead and
everyone.
introduce yourself in the matter, and we'll proceed, go from there.
Okay. Rachel Souter, Senior Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management. The Washington County Sheriff's Office is requesting approval to accept grant funds from the Opioid Operational Command Center to support the jail-based medication-assisted treatment and reentry program in the amount of $293,557.60. The funds will be used to expand access to medication-assisted treatment, MAT, and coordinate continuation of MAT services post-release as required under Maryland House Bill 116. The detention center's medical provider will identify MAT candidates in custody and refer candidates to the detention center's certified addiction counselor to conduct an American Society of Addiction Medicine level of care assessment and provide outpatient treatment based on best practice for incarcerated individuals with opioid use disorders. The program will refer candidates to the detention center's medical provider for MAT evaluation, induction, and continuation. The program's peer recovery specialist will plan for release and connect MAT patients to community-based providers post-release. The program proposes to purchase MAT medication to include methadone, buprenorphine, and Vivitrol. The Office of Grant Management has reviewed the grant funding guidelines and application. The performance period began July 1st, 2021 and runs through June 30th, 2022. The total anticipated project cost is $293,557.60, and that full amount has been awarded in grant funding, and matching funds are not required. House Bill 116 requires an additional 6 counties to provide MAT and detention centers by October 1st of this year, and requires that all detention centers must provide it by January 1st, 2023. So should the request to accept the awarded funding be denied, Washington County will have to include this in the annual budget process unless additional grant funding becomes available. Does anyone have any questions?
So basically, this is required by state mandate,
Sure
and
is.
basically, it has nothing to do with the day reporting center.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm okay.
Commissioners,
I motion to approve.
there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Pass, would you, someone contact Major Rowe if he's on his way that he's done? Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see him on anything else. Next up, Hagerstown Regional Airport. Everybody here prepared? We need to wait on anybody? Please introduce yourself and the matter.
Mahesh was on here, Jeff, but Mahesh is on now.
Yeah.
Do you need him, or do we need,
Mahesh is not gonna show up today, so
Okay.
he's down at Douglas, and I said,
Okay.
take care of it.
thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Allison Hartshorn, Grant Manager, Office of Grant Management.
Rick Johnson, Airport Director at Hagerstown Regional Airport.
This afternoon, excuse me, we're here to move to approve the acceptance of grant funds in the amount of $330,560 from the Federal Aviation Administration. The proposed funding is design phase of Taxiway F pavement reconstruction and associated lighting and signage. You can see that the Federal Aviation Administration is paying $297,504, which is 90%. And then we're using COVID relief funds of 10%, $33,056 for the total of $330,556, sorry. The Taxiway F project is approved in the airport CIP budget, RUN 019.
Commissioners, thoughts, comments? Actually, no direct cost to us.
Nope.
Just for clarity, Rick, why don't you explain what's gonna happen with Taxiway Foxtrot? Where's that?
So it's just off of the firehouse on the terminal side. It's about a little over 3,000 feet, and essentially they're just gonna do the design, bidding, and phase services for the grant for construction. We have it programmed for 2 years out. So
What's it gonna service? What's that taxiway gonna service?
it serves the main runway, so it's used now, it's utilized now. It's just time for an upgrade, and we have the funds, and it's 100% funds, and we're gonna take advantage of that.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm just curious questions.
All right,
I have a
first
question, if I may
Yeah,
ask.
go
I
ahead.
certainly support this. What is it about this grant program that provides 100% funding, where typically FAA grants, it's a 95 FAA and
It's usually, I think,
5% local
Yeah,
match?
which is like,
It's 95, 5, and 5.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, the state no longer participates in design permitting, so in the future, all design grants and to include construction phase services would then fall back on the county to pay for that, just because they have limited funds themselves. It's like she said, like Allison said, it's the corona relief. So they know everybody's going through a tough time, and they're funding these grants at 100%.
Okay,
So
good.
Have first and a second, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
thank you.
Thank you, Rick. I guess you were here before when we introduced you, but this is your first official action here before the commissioners. So thank you. welcome. Thanks for having me. Rick is, I'll say hit the ground running, but that's probably not the appropriate airport term. But I can't think of a good thing to say. But, Running.
You could
Thank you.
not crash and burn either. We don't want that. So.
No. Thank you.
Let's do that. Let's do, we're gonna do that.
We have
Danielle.
something we're going back to,
I was
you want to make an announcement?
Yeah, I was gonna say Danielle I think she's back there if she wants to come out. There she is. Well, yep, whenever you're ready. This is a special recognition, special event.
Citizen, a little joint.
Right. So they brought some things to share with the commissioners this morning. So
We each get an Emmy?
So I had High Rock come in today. This is Josh Youngbar and Lynn Sullivan, both from High Rock, and they just won 3 Emmys in the what was back in June 26th. I should remember that. So I just wanted to have them come in and tell you guys all about their Emmys that they won. So
Congratulations.
I'm gonna go back and run the cameras.
Congratulations, welcome.
Hey,
And then once they present this to you, we have one of the videos that we can show you because it was part of the campaign for behavioral health. So that they did for us.
which the county was involved in.
Yes, it was the COVID-19 behavioral health campaign.
Right.
I knew something was going to go on when there wasn't 5 trophies there, only 3, so they weren't for us. So I guess.
Yeah, I don't think you get to keep. You can take your picture with them, right?
Yeah, and then we would like to get your picture with you guys. So.
Well, we thank you for having us in. Again, Danielle said I'm Len Sullivan, Vice President of High Rock, and I guess what we really thought we would just express is that when people get up and they accept awards, it's always the case that they have a lot of people to thank. And the coordination effort with Washington County was tremendous. We were honored to be asked to participate in helping get the awareness out there. And between the PR department, the marketing department, and everyone in Washington County that was involved, Danielle, Brittany, all the volunteers that stepped out, this was very much a coordinated effort with the citizens of Washington County to make this a reality. So we really just wanted to say thank you for not only the opportunity, but just the tremendous and overwhelming support that the county provided in all, from citizens to officials to everyone involved.
I'm Josh Youngbar. I'm the one that directed all 3 of these ads that won, and of course the county. The other 2 one was for Bester Community Hope. We helped them with, they had a grant to do something around education around child abuse, so we did something in that. And then the last one was promoting the warehouse cinemas in Frederick, which I think if anybody's familiar with them or not, but all of it, is it's a group effort on every project creatively, and so just thankful for everyone that was involved.
Thank you. Okay.
A game of cards that Grandpa somehow managed to lose. Even though
Well, there was sound, and it was much better when it was with sound.
This just makes my day. It does. Stay connected. Stay hopeful. Reach out for help.
I'm just trying.
that face that is usually.
Well, anyway, we'll just go ahead and move forward. But what thank you all very much for coming in. Appreciate the efforts and recognition of our county.
This is fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Where, if someone wants to watch these, where have they all been? What medias have they been on, these videos?
Most of the videos were ads that would play digitally
Okay.
on social media networks or on actually streaming TV.
Okay, gotcha.
Perhaps we can put them on our Facebook page.
You can, yes. If you search for them, I believe the county shared them. Yes. Thank you. Oh.
Helen? Where is she? Oh, hi there. Hi, girls. How are you today? We love you, Mommy.
This just makes my day. It does.
Stay connected. Stay hopeful. Reach out for help.
Thank you.
Good job.
Hey, going, I wanted to see all three of them. Where's, no, I'm just messing with you.
I mean,
Commissioners, I'm going to back up the Commissioner, citizens participation. I see no one has arrived by 12:35, so we'll move forward with that. If someone hasn't walked in late, we'll surely try to accommodate that. Next on the agenda is transitional living for Nathan's Bridge. Are those folks here today? Early? I don't think so. I want to skip down past the public hearings as we have two assigned times for them. And Andrew Eichmann's here. Could you go ahead and do the local parks and playground?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Andrew Eshelman, Director of Public Works. Here before you again regarding local parks and playground infrastructure state funding. If you recall, was last before you June 22nd, making you aware that the county will receive $1.5 million of general state obligation bond funding to be used for local parks and playground infrastructure. That time we had a discussion. You directed me to come back after evaluating some needs and requests and prepare options for consideration. So here before you to do that this morning, seeking a recommended motion to authorize staff to submit a local parks and playground infrastructure project list to the Department of Natural Resources. That includes a list of core projects, and then you'll see options A, B, or C, or some supplemental projects for consideration. So as I mentioned, I have taken a closer look at the countywide needs as well as followed up with municipalities who submitted FY22 program open space project requests that were either ongoing or unfunded, meaning we were here before you a couple months ago. We did the program open space schedule, which is something that happens every year. Not all those projects were funded. Also, some of those projects may be phased in that they just submit a request for maybe part one of a project with the expectation that it's going to be ongoing and just wasn't funded in the future, but we can kind of capture and understand what they're looking to do there. So in that June discussion, the commissioners expressed support for funding project needs geographically throughout the county and those that rated high in the program's goal. This would be the local parks and playground infrastructure goal of enhancing recreational amenities, including but not limited to trails, playgrounds and recreational facilities that could also meet the expenditure timeline because they do want this money spent in the current fiscal year, that being FY '22. So what I looked to do was establish a core group of projects that were discussed previously. That list before you includes facility upgrades at Camp Harding Park, Chestnut Grove Park, Clear Spring Park, Devil's Backbone, Penmar, and Regional Park. You'll see the list there. At most of those, with the exception of Devil's Backbone, we're looking at upgrading playground structures, roof replacements on the pavilions, bathroom upgrades, some general lighting and miscellaneous upgrades. And then at the bottom, I have a project listed, Regional Park walking, hiking trails, $120,000 for matching funds towards $340,000 land and water conservation grant. I don't know if you recall, I was back here in December regarding a grant request that we submitted to Land and Water Conservation Fund for walking trails out of Regional Park, and we were successful in receiving that, which is very good news. As part of that, though, they want to have a funding commitment in place, and we had also applied for some other grants that are still outstanding. So in order to go ahead and capture that money, because there's some matching requirements, seemed like a natural fit to take some of this money and allocate it towards that so we can move forward with that project and not turn away any of those federal funds. So that's what I'm calling the core group of projects right there that I think kind of capture all corners and ends of the county, really fit within that scope of what the program is looking to do. So then second to that, there'd be $236,000 remaining after that group of projects is considered, and several options. One, this money's coming to the county, so it's up to this board and the county to decide, do we want to continue to invest in some county projects? And if so, we would look to spend that money on some playground equipment at Marty Snook Park. Another option would be some of the municipalities and their needs. The city of Hagerstown had a playground equipment amenities program open space request that was not fully funded. We funded about $70,000 of that. $101,000 would be the remaining amount, and that would be for play equipment in a number of parks throughout the city of Hagerstown. They wanted to put some additional swings in, some climbing cubes, and that sort of thing. They also had a request for roof replacements. The $45,000 is a partial request for that amount, but that would be kind of a similar thing that would go towards. They could do some pavilion roof upgrades and things like that, as well as a storage facility that they wanted at Fairgrounds Park. Smithsburg Veterans Park road lighting, one of the ongoing program open space projects they have is for some access improvements over on the southern end of the park to establish another exit. And this part would be a continuation of that and would represent the lighting portion of the project. And then finally, in Williamsport, Billy Dowd Park sidewalk project continuation. What was funded in their program open space request was more or less a phase one of that sidewalk work to upgrade a broken asphalt pathway with some concrete that would be ADA accessible. And this amount would more or less represent the final phase of that completion. So those are more or less the park projects. And then, like I said, option C would be if there's something that stands out you really deem as important and want to mix and match that to come up with a combination for the $1.5 million.
Andrew, I mean, they all seem like worthy projects. I mean, they do. But I guess it's not confusion, but we got 1.5 million, correct?
Correct.
So if you're very familiar with every one of these projects and what the need is, correct?
Yes.
I guess I'd ask you the same thing for me, Rich. I asked Rich Eichelberger what I would want to hear, not that you have to keep coming back. It's just like a house. Okay, this really needs to be done, guys. This roof is shot, this furnace is shot, or whatever. I'd like to know the ones that have to be done or the whole building's going to deteriorate. And is that all the case here? All of them have to be done?
I think any project that's on here is worthy of being funded. I mean, I wouldn't have recommended it if it wasn't
right. Okay, so they're
worthy of being
they all need it.
Funded. And I think what you'll see is if you don't do it now, on next year's program open space cycle, you'll see these projects still on here. So it's more a question of do you go ahead and do it now, or do you come back around and consider it next year as a program open space project? So you're more or less forward funding it because we're receiving this money that really wasn't anticipated.
Right, so it wasn't anticipated, and we hope that, if a lot of this gets forward funded now, then when we get through the program open space, process next year, that we'll be able to fund further projects, and we'll try to, I won't say we'll stay ahead, because we'll never stay ahead, but we'll try to do that. I know you had mentioned that last time. I think Commissioner Kiefer talked about, looking at different parks in different parts of the county. I think that's what we tried to do, and try to identify some of the projects in the municipalities. And I know Andrew's talked to them. Of some of those projects, trying to identify some projects that we could try to assist the municipalities with this money that we weren't anticipating, but that we received. So, I agree. I think we looked at all these. I think they're all worthwhile projects, and I think they're all needed to be done. And so if we don't fund them now, you may see them again in the spring, I would think.
They're not funded now. We'll probably get them at POS, since you're saying
Correct.
most of them are priority.
Correct.
Commissioners, thoughts, comments?
Were any of these projects already scheduled to be done with county money? Or are these over and above things that we were already going to do?
So on the county side, I can break it out. Each individual thing, I would say yes, but not all at once. So we have, if you look at our CIP, we have money to do bathroom upgrades. We were going to do it with our own staff, try to piece it along. We had replaced pavilion roofs at Regional Park last year. We kind of did that in-house, small scale. We have a tennis court that we were going to use existing capital funds to resurface that at Camp Harding. So we'll still probably do that. Regional Park, that was a CIP project that's in there that we're planning to do. So if anything, we're kind of supercharging already what we were going to do and kind of piecemeal. We have the money, it needs to be spent this year, and knock it out. So we're not recommending projects that were never conceived before, or were only being conceived because we have this money now.
I guess my thinking was, if we're saving some money that we had planned to spend by using this 1.5, can we go ahead and include all these projects this year?
Meaning all of them under A and B?
A and B, yeah. Why do we have to choose?
Well, because it's 100% state money. So if you say you want to do all of them, then you're including $236,000 that would need to be county general fund money.
Right, that's my point.
Well, honestly, I would tell you that we could hold off a year if we needed to because of the cycle. If it was really that important and we had to do it, then sure, I'm not going to turn away money. But I'm not going to stand before you and say this is absolutely such a priority that I have to have $236,000 to have this request funded now, or there's going to be some dire situation.
I guess my point was, if we're saving $236,000 by using 1.5, could we just go ahead and do them all?
I mean, are any of these projects in the budget for this year?
Yeah, that's what I
mean, I think that's what he was.
Well, what we were going to come back is we would need to do a budget adjustment because some of these are existing CIP accounts. And so once it's set, I will get with Sarah and Kelsey and we'll say, we need to allocate an extra $700,000 to our existing CIP account for playground replacement, and $700,000 of that is going to be shown as state money. So that's how the budget side will work. And then, yes, if you're saying we want it to go ahead and be done when that budget adjustment comes in, it just wouldn't be $700,000 of state money. It would be $700,000 plus we need to find $236,000 of general fund money from somewhere to pay for that project.
Some of these projects are matching, which makes sense, right?
These are all 100% state funds. It's not like program open space where it's 90% state, 10% local. It's 100%.
Okay, then I got confused. Didn't you say?
Just the bottom one, the regional park.
Oh, regional park. That's one.
That's one where the $340,000 land and water conservation grant is a matching grant. So we had put some program open space money towards that. We have some general fund money, and we had applied for a recreational trails grant, which we won't find out until September. So we can have them hold off and wait to see if that comes in and use that money as matching, which we originally anticipated, But the safe thing would be, we can go ahead and execute all the documents now, use this money, and it goes towards that project, and we're insured of not turning away any federal grant amount that we are set to receive.
What did you want from us today? Pick a,
Basically say, move forward with motion of funding core projects in there, and then do you like option A or B? Or if you don't like A or B, you like certain projects from there and move forward. But I mean, I would think we should have a project schedule that totals 1.5 million.
Andrew, I want to jump back to Charlie's question. Some of these projects were in our CIP.
Correct.
What's the total dollar value of what is currently in our CIP that we could reallocate towards something else? Roughly.
When you say present year or future year?
Both.
Because in the present year, the answer would be 0.
So if we use this grant funding to fund these projects, then that's going to ease up some of our CIP projects that we have been budgeting for. We have some money saved. Presently, we have, I guess, outlying years we plan to put some CIP money into these projects. That money is going to be freed up to be used for something else or to be used as savings. What is that dollar amount?
For the county, when you look at our next year and what we're planning to put in for some of these facility improvements, I think it was around 300,000, if I'm correct, going to kind of bathrooms and roof replacements and playground equipment. So, but I would caution you in saying, well, if we did it this year, it doesn't mean that we don't need to do playground equipment next year, because we have 17 parks and this is only looking at, what, 5? So it's kind of an ongoing thing, and it's even in the language for the bill that they're looking at this as an above and beyond, not to supplant what you would ordinarily put money to. But yes, you're not wrong in that if you look at next year in our CIP budget, the things that we're looking to do on the county side are in our CIP budget. And a lot of those are ongoing reoccurring costs. When you look at our budget and playground equipment, there's money in there every year, because in order to keep up with what we need to do on a replacement cycle, every year you're replacing it. So it's never like you've done it all and then now you can walk away. It's a reoccurring thing to keep up with.
Yeah, I mean, when we first started talking about this, I asked Andrew to try to identify projects that weren't in the budget for FY22, things that needed to get done, but we just didn't have the money to do it, because this was money, again, we weren't anticipating. So I think the answer, I think both of you were asking the same question. I think the answer is, there's nothing in this year's budget relating to these projects, right?
Right,
But they're sort of programmed in for the future, which you would have to address.
And that's permissible with the grant, where these projects need to be over and above, because even though they're on our radar for future years and we've set out a spending plan for that, we don't jeopardize not meeting the spirit of the grant.
No, I think the issue would be if we went ahead and approved a schedule for the county's FY22 budget, and you looked at it and said, for example, we approved $50,000 to resurface a basketball court, and that's local county money, and you came in and said, hey, we're getting this money, we're going to put $50,000 of state money towards it and pool the $50,000 of local money. That's not in the spirit, because they're saying you originally had an obligation, you were going to do it, and now you're swapping money. They want this to be an over and above what you were planning to do.
Well, and I think that's where I was coming from. If we've already voted and approved a budget next year for parks and recreation of a certain amount and for certain projects, this money should be spent separately, 1.5 million on other projects. I think that option B is a better option if we're going to vote on this, because it spreads that money around. That's just my opinion. But
yeah, like I said, any of these projects are deserving and worthy, and I've been following up with the communities, and so yes, any project that's on that list, they're going to be very appreciative of it.
And just looking at all the projects that you have listed here, I think it's important to make sure we replace some equipment, playground equipment at Marty Snook, because that park is really, really used. That's our #1 park here in the county. And so my thoughts were to provide the bottom 3 option B projects, the roof replacement for Hagerstown, the Veterans Park at Smithsburg, and the sidewalk at Billy Dow Park. I don't know, taking $135,000, well, yeah, decreasing our, Marty Snook playground equipment to 100,000. We would need 135,000 of that. How urgent and how soon do we really need to, should we be working on the Marty Snook Park immediately, the playground, equipment replacement?
That's what we've currently been working on. We had funded some regular playground equipment and POS. We're currently working on the natural playground, and we're kind of moving across almost east to west through there. So that's probably the next location. And the question would be, obviously, we can use any amount, but the space there by Pavilion 2, there's some big equipment that's showing its age. But we would decide if there's any amount given. There's lots of equipment there. Marty Snook's very linear and spread out, and it could be used. So
I'd like to spread it around a little bit. Probably option C. It probably, hit every aspect of the county. Chestnut Grove, Devil's Backbone. Not that expensive. It's used quite extensively. You jump over to Billy Dobbs sidewalk, Smithburg, and you hit Smithburg, and you hit Hagerstown one time. Clear Spring, Chestnut Grove with South County. I think you hit enough to get to that total and spread it through the whole county, especially the heavy use. Like, if Devil's Backbone doesn't require much money, but it's heavily used. And,
yeah, it's really the bathroom there we want to upgrade.
And that's the way I would probably do a quick combination. And I think it's like, if do you do both things? And like, you got Camp Harding and Clear Spring. Well, Camp Harding's big pool, and then you got Clear Spring. You do them both, or you spread it out more around the whole county. I like every part of the county to get something out of this.
Well, I think all of these projects, the core group you have written there, you would decrease option A, and then you would take the 3 projects there on option B. All of that's going to total 1.5 million.
Are you saying the 3 options under B, the roof replacements, the lighting, and the sidewalk, and not the Hagerstown? Because basically everything under option B totals the remaining amount.
Yeah. But I'm saying all of the totals together come out to 1.5 million.
No,
Let me
all
add
of
them.
that first
I
section.
didn't add them up.
The first
You got
section
the
is-
first section,
yeah.
and then you got option A or B, which is gonna
Correct.
complete that.
That's what I
one.
mean. So
Yeah.
if you did all of the first section, and then you did option A at 101,000, and then you did the 3 bottom items there for option B, that takes care of option A, B, and C minus the playground equipment for the city of Hagerstown. That's how I was looking at it.
Yeah,
But-
I think that adds up.
Yes, that adds up.
To 1.5.
Right. It
Yeah.
does, yep.
But, and we may wanna bring it back, we may wanna, I think they wanna move forward today.
Mr. Eisman, you want to prepare us a list and come back with this so we can approve it, seeing in writing the totals, or commissioners, you happy with that suggestion right
I'm good
now?
with option B.
All of it, or just,
The core and option B. I can't see doing half a project at Marty Snook, and we can always pick that up next year.
yeah, I don't think that.
I
would
mean,
be half of a
honestly, I
project,
think
though.
because of what we're saving, we could do it all.
Andrew, that dollar amount, 236 for Marty Snook, what, is that all of the playground equipment? Is that a couple pieces? What does that
So,
cover?
playground equipment's a lot more than you expect. So, kind of a rule of thumb is to do a play structure with slides and those kind of things all in one structure, and then the surface and everything. You're probably looking at 150,000. So 200,000 would be probably a play structure, maybe a spinner, some swings if they needed, and kind of one play area. So at Marty Snook, because it's so spread out, if it was $50,000, we could do some small slides and small pieces. We probably wouldn't tackle a big structure. So that's more or less what you're getting dollar-wise with those amounts.
Commissioners, thoughts, comments? Is there a motion, or bring it back?
Say yours again, Terry. What'd you say?
I just thought I'd like to do something at Marty Snook and include all of the core group projects, something at Marty Snook, and I was really interested in doing the three bottom items there on option B, which would get you to option C. You would do a combination of projects from the first page and the second page, but the three there, you know, the roof replacement for the city of Hagerstown, Smithsburg Veterans Park, and Williamsport Billy Dow Park.
I would do the three bottom in option B, and then we'd have to pick from option A.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Three bottom in option B.
Marty Snook, what you're saying as well?
We'd have to have a calculator now. We'd do the three bottoms,
They're gonna be, you're gonna do 101,000 in Marty Snow.
but not all of, you didn't get not the playground equipment for Hagerstown, but the roof replacement, right?
Yeah, we're doing that,
So the bottom three,
correct, on option B.
right?
So with the bottom, if I understand it correctly, the bottom three on option B,
Right,
all of the core group.
okay.
And then that would leave 101,000 to go to playground equipment at Marty Snook.
That'd be fine with me.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, is that a motion? Is that a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Andrew, you have clear on that? Okay,
Yes.
have first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Mr. Eichmann, I think you're coming back to have everyone here for your Project Open Space Antietam Water Trail acquisition.
Yes, I believe so.
Please introduce yourselves and the matter.
Andrew Eshelman, Director of Public Works.
Todd Moser, Real Property Administrator. Program Open Space Antietam Water Trail Acquisition. Move to approve the option agreement for a partial property acquisition, including fee simple and/or easements for the properties listed below. To approve an ordinance approving said purchase and to authorize the execution of the necessary documentation to finalize the acquisition. Property owner at 458 Antietam Drive has agreed to sell the parcel to the county for the Antietam Water Trail project. Program Open Space will cover a significant portion of the acquisition cost to include appraisals, title work, and property acquisition. Project would support the development of the Antietam Water Creek Water Trail. This location would serve as the unofficial start of the Antietam Creek Water Trail to support uses including boating, tubing, fishing, and general recreation. This location was the former site of the Antietam paper mill dating back to the 1700s, but the site has remained in its present state since the building burned down almost 20 years ago. The purchase of the property provides the opportunity to redevelop this former local community landmark. The county has partnered with numerous municipalities, state and local agencies, businesses, and nonprofits of the development of the water trail to improve access and recreation on the waterway. The county has applied for grants to aid in the development of the site, which is anticipated to include a parking area, stream access, lighting, signage, fencing, and a small picnic area. Property cost is $14,000. The area is 1.2551 acres in fee. Program open spacing funding would include $11,750 plus $2,000 for appraisal if the property is purchased, plus the cost of title work. County funding $2,250 if property is purchased. It would cost the county $5,565 if the option to purchase is declined. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. Sorry. I know there were some concerned citizens out in that community about the county purchasing this property. I know I've been told, and I don't know if it's factual or not, I've been told that there's been interest in this piece of property, but the county wouldn't grant them permits for parking and all of that there. So if someone tried to purchase that property years ago and they couldn't because the zoning didn't permit parking or whatever they wanted to do, and then I guess for me, how can the county have parking if they can't?
So the issue you refer to is, as you see up there, we're actually subdividing the property. So when the area was used for parking for the business, it wasn't approved for that, and that was a zoning issue. And so that's why parking wasn't permitted on the property for that use, because it never received a site plan approval for that. The property is about 90% in the floodplain. So in terms of development potential, it is very limited to go in and put in something new. So we're not gonna be putting any buildings or structures, but a parking area would be, permitted for us to do that. I suppose it would be possible for a private owner to do that as well. It's just for what purpose and what is the parking lot serving? And that was some of the issues that have come up before, and the issues with the neighbors and their concern is why was it being used for parking, and that it was never approved for that.
And I think we've had several meetings with the residents out there that had concerns. It's definitely a nuisance property with illegal activity going on. There's no question about that. Andrew and I, we've witnessed some of that activity while we're meeting with them. I think when we purchase it, at the very least, we can have more oversight of the property. Our hands are kind of tied right now. I think it's a win-win for the county and the residents that had the concerns out there. We can't make any promises that it's going to alleviate all the problems there, but I think we can keep a tighter eye on everything.
And I also received a call on the property where when there was activity going on out there, hearing guns being fired, that drinking, noise, that caller had said that the police department said that they weren't going to respond to any more calls out there for nuisance. Don't know if that's accurate or not, but I would imagine you call 911, they have to follow through.
Yeah, I mean, I have spoken to the sheriff's office and the resident you're talking about, and yes, it's a nuisance property. I think every day, every weekend, there's things going on out there. And as Todd said, at the county level, our hands are somewhat tied in how fast we can respond to those things. We did install no trespassing signs up there to try to help the situation. My understanding is the sheriff's office is trying to run people off, but unless the property owner wants to follow through on the enforcement, there's not anything legally they can do to charge the person unless they want to appear in court. So we're kind of stuck in this cycle of the enforcement, the issue still going on. I can't speak for the sheriff's office about response time, but I know there's been regular instances out there where they've had to respond to problems.
You probably said it and I probably missed it. What, the remaining land, what happens to that?
The owner of Creekside, retains that.
Retains that, and
Yes.
does that, so if we buy the issues Terry was just talking about and you guys were addressing, does that solve anything? I mean, as far as by us having purchasing the remaining land, is there still whatever activities go on, which we can't, it's not our problem, but it could be.
It will be more of our problem in
Yeah.
that case, but I think then they have a direct contact to the property owner, the county, whereas we can come in and if we want to pursue legal action against the trespassers, I think there's gonna be a quicker response time.
Because we own property.
Right, and
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna be working on the design, which would be the next phase of this, but some of the things the property owners, concerns is right now you can drive up and kind of hide behind certain locations. So that all needs to change. The
Gotcha.
location needs to be secured. We need to have it gated, controlled access at certain times. Can we promise you that nothing bad is gonna happen? No, absolutely not. But hopefully it's a better situation than where we're at
So we should
now.
be able to have better oversight, even the other person's remaining land.
My understanding is if there's a trespassing issue and it's posted, the sheriff's office can just respond and deal with that issue directly. They don't have to find another third-party person to find out, are they trespassing or not? Do you want to press charges?
And then the only other question I have, contaminants on the property, cleanup. I've heard there's quite a bit of issues there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the nearby residents said the same thing, and that when the property burned down, it was more or less buried. Will we need to do some excavation potentially? But with the parking and the surface work that we're doing, I don't anticipate uncovering a lot of subsurface material. But that's something we would need to look into. But I haven't, received any, specifics about contaminant X, Y, or Z.
Oh, we haven't done any testing either.
No, but yes, you're right. We haven't done any testing.
So.
It sounds like contaminants was on your radar. What could it potentially be, and how significant of a cost or operation would it be to clean that up?
Again, normally, when you're talking about contamination, it's kind of, if you're doing excavation and you impact that material, then you have to remediate it and bring it out. If it's more or less capped and you're doing things on the surface, you're not really disturbing that material. My understanding is that properties, there should be a process they have to register as brownfield sites and those kind of things. But just because that hasn't happened or isn't there doesn't mean that you still may not find things. I mean, we were working, on parking lots, they find underground storage tanks and things that were never reported, and you find those, and there's a process for remediating that and dealing with it. So it's possible that those things could happen. But again, we're not looking to put building foundations and things in necessarily to do that with the parking lot and some of the things we're looking to do.
Yeah, and my only other concern is, when you look at the boundaries that we're going to be acquiring, will it be all of the property within that exterior yellow line?
Yes. The hatched line, so not all of the yellow, it's the yellow hatched area.
The rest is remaining, right, yeah.
So you're saying only the lines only the yellow area that's hashed?
Yes, so Marsh Run comes in at that location, and it's the
So
center
we
line.
wouldn't
more or
own
less of that.
we wouldn't own all of that land, any of that land there where the creek's running through?
No. I mean, we'll own a portion of the creek, but just, it's the far
Well,
western.
you have proposed remaining lands.
Yes, and that's gonna be privately owned.
Okay. Correct. So why does it say proposed? Mine says proposed remaining lands.
Well, this is a subdivision process that still needs to be completed and recorded, so right now it's proposed. The ESTAT records of this were not correct at the beginning, and they only showed the yellow hatched area as 0.52 acres. It turns out that it's 1.5 acres. So there had to be a subdivision, so that's why it's proposed.
Commissioners, any more comments?
What
thoughts?
is exactly the county's use of this gonna be? How is the county gonna use this?
It would be part of the water trail park, so the county has long-term plans to establish public locations that people can do boating, fishing along the Antietam Creek. Currently, the issue is people are using the creek, they're trespassing, there's issues with emergency response and access, trash, some of the things we've seen here. So it's trying to get a foothold at these locations. Further south, you have Kiwanis Park, that's about 1.5 miles. Funkstown has a location. We have a spot on Rose's Mill, Devil's Backbone, and so it's about connecting those dots to provide safe access for the public.
So I
to
go there,
recreate.
park, throw a kayak in, float down to Kiwanis Park and have a big time.
Well, also, isn't there a dam in here? So I think I remember a dam.
Yes, there's a dam.
There is a dam.
You can see the break
Whose
line there.
property will be-
That's not our responsibility. Holcomb Cement is responsible for that dam.
So is that dam, will that dam be accessed after they launch from the property that the county wants to purchase?
That's why we have this as the start, so the put-in location would actually be on the southern end to get away from the dam, because there are hazards associated with portages and things around the dam area, so that's how we were planning to address that.
Yeah, I'm gonna wanna, I personally, for me, I'd like to have a tour. Go out there and have a visual and see exactly what we're going to be purchasing. That's just my position. So if we move forward today, I'm going to abstain. But that's up to the
Commissioners, any other comments?
I personally will take a ride out there. I'd like to wait too, cause I know about what we're doing, but I wanna see I just really wanna look at it. I mean, I could do it as early as next week. I could vote on it, but I do wanna ride out and look at it.
I'm gonna agree with the other two, but I'd like to get comments from the others. Would you like to take a tour first before we vote and delay this?
I'm fine, just, are we touring separately, are we touring as a
You
group?
can do it on
Either
your
way is
own
fine.
or call individuals. That might be hard to get us all 5 together, so.
If I
Yeah,
have
I'd be
that,
willing
we
to
can
visit.
figure it out. Yep.
I can go out on my own.
do
I mean,
that.
I know
guess I'll
exactly
offer
where it's
staff
at.
to assist with that if you.
Yeah, I guess the question would be, how many are we allowed to have at one time before it's a meeting? So if we want to take shifts or,
Three, so if you were
Three's
gonna
a
take
crowd.
one or two.
yeah.
Three's a crowd, that's great, right. So, but yeah, if you wanna, I guess reach out, I don't know if you reach out to one of you two.
Let's work on that.
You can also
Okay.
go out on your own, but
Yes.
you might wanna have staff.
We do have an exhibit of what the development would look like, so we can share that.
Okay. All right, there's your direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, donation of the right-of-way, Mr. Moser.
Todd
Wait,
Moser, Real Property
what-
Administrator.
which one?
Donation of right-of-way for Professional Boulevard. Move to approve the donation for partial property acquisition, including fee simple and/or easements for the property listed below, and to approve an ordinance approving said donation and to authorize the execution of the necessary documentation to finalize the acquisition. Hagerstown, Washington County Industrial Foundation Chief has agreed to waive its right to just compensation, agreed to donate 3.48 acres of fee simple area, 0.51 acres for temporary construction easements, 0.69 acres for perpetual drainage and utility easements, and 0.05 acres for drainage easements for Phase 3 and 4 of Professional Boulevard. The county will also vacate a portion of existing drainage and utility easement consisting of 14,589 square feet that was previously donated. The area being vacated will be donated back to the county in fee as part of the area described above. Again, fee simple area 3.48 acres. I've went over the easement area. Value of just compensation $217,900. Phase 3 and 4 of Professional Boulevard is a planned capital improvement project and will provide a connection between Yale Drive and Rosewood Village near Robin Wood Drive.
Commissioners, thoughts, comments? It's a donation?
That's correct.
So it's a donation to us for stormwater management, basically.
For the road,
Yeah,
the connection of the road.
but it doesn't also take in some kind of drainage and,
That's correct.
right? Motion to approve.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
First and second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 I'll be a no.
That's okay, that's 4-1. Terry, were you an aye?
I'm an aye.
You're a no, 3-2. Thank you, it passes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're
I
gonna,
think Terry said he was
Terry,
aye.
did you vote
I was yes.
oh yeah, my apology. Okay, thank you for the correction.
I didn't hear that correct.
That's okay.
Okay, great.
Next, we're gonna back up and go to transitional living for Nathan's Ridge. Folks, these, are you here? Nope, I thought they were. Okay. Next up, Brandy Noggle. Rescind bid award. Yeah, here they come. Yeah, no.
Good afternoon, Brandy Noggle, buyer in the purchasing department. The first recommendation I have for you this afternoon is the rescind for bid award INTG 20-0058 personal protective equipment for the Division of Emergency Services. Move to relieve Whitmer Public Safety of Williamsport, Maryland from the contract without prejudice for the purchase approved by the Board of County Commissioners April 20, 2021 for the purchase of 35 sets of PPE coats and pants for the Division of Emergency Services. On November 17th of 2020, the board originally approved 50 sets to be purchased from Whitmer Public Safety based on pricing from the State of New Jersey contract. Again, on April 20th, 2021, the board approved an additional 35 sets. The first totaling 50 sets, $143,966.50. The second approved for $85,296.75. On June 4th of 2021, a partial order was received of 3 sets. These sets were part of the 50 original sets ordered from DES.
Because of the result of this order and the delay in the delivery, DES senior staff decided to get weekly reports from Whitmer. On July 2nd, per a phone conversation with Lyon, Washington County was informed of a shortage for the PPA components for these sets of equipment. The first would be a delay of the first order, and then an even larger delay on the second order. On June 7th, a conference call with Lyon occurred requesting an update on delivery of the initial first 50 sets. Washington County was told that they were in production. It was expected possibly July or August, with no guaranteed delivery date, but possible. At this time, Lyon representatives were informed that this anticipated delivery date was unacceptable and may warrant cancellation by Washington County. So today we're asking to rescind this particular bid for the second 35 set that was awarded.
And obviously, we have legally right to do this because they didn't perform on what they're supposed to.
That is correct.
Yeah, and they've concurred in the rescission of the resolutions.
So and these are probably for the new recruits, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, I'd motion to approve it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Randy, I think we have you up for another one, don't we? Or
Yeah.
This is the follow-up to this.
This is
yes,
the follow-up.
please continue.
Okay, the second one is for the award of intergovernmental cooperative purchase 21-0063 PPE supplies for the Department of Emergency Services. Move to authorize by resolution for the approval for the purchase of 35 personal protective equipment, pants and coats for the Division of Emergency Service from MES, Municipal Emergency Services and Lawman Supply Company of Rockville, Maryland, at the contracted unit price based on the Fairfax County, Virginia contract. The total will be no different than that of which was approved. Well, I think there's a $14 difference to the good. Total $85,282.75. These uniforms are expected to be delivered in 35 to 40 days. They say mid-September. And again, this is replacements of the ones we just requested to be resent.
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nathan's Ridge. Anyone here from Nathan's Ridge? Okay. The next item on our discussion, the commissioners okay while we're waiting on Nathan's Ridge, would be the discussion review process approval for local nonprofits contingency discussion. Mr. Baker has left the room. Who would like to lead that discussion?
Are we waiting until he comes back?
You can, or you can begin without him in general.
It sounded like.
But do you want to, we had the public hearings. You want to go to them first? Let's,
Wait 5 minutes to do the public hearing.
let's reconsider, take a 5-minute break and do the public hearings.
Do
Okay.
the public hearings, do that when there's 145, and then we can come back to that.
Okay, that's fine. All right, recess.
You're in there.